Okay, so I didn't expect this Rooster Teeth thing to be a 3-part series. Apparently, it's going to be part 1 was the news itself, with Rooster Teeth removing RWBY more or less from YouTube. Part 2 is going over community, backlash, responding to the news. And here's part 3. Now, apparently Rooster Teeth is doing some damage control here, which I'm really surprised, actually. I guess they really don't like what people have to say about all this or something. Let's read. Oh, and let me also say, I've already read this and I was laughing a whole lot last night. So if I don't have too much to say, it's because, I've seen this and I've already laughed a whole bunch. But here it is for everyone else that hasn't seen this yet. Oh, and also, I'm not going to read the full thing. So if you want to read the full thing, you'll have to go to roosterteeth.com. Anyways, let's take a look. Myth number 1. RWBY is easier to watch on YouTube than on Rooster Teeth. He says, subjective, but false. Rooster Teeth, you can say that, but I have a hunch that YouTube and Google do have a superior product than your app or all this other stuff you're talking about. Sorry. Myth number 2. This move was forced upon Rooster Teeth by Warner Media. He says false. Now, I'm really glad he said false here because this is actually a slap in the face to the Rooster Teeth White Knights. You know how many times I deal with these Rooster Teeth White Knights that say, it's not Rooster Teeth's fault, it's Warner Media's fault, or anything like that? And I always counter with the same point. I'm sure a lot of you guys know what I'm about to say. Rooster Teeth chose to sell themselves out, so yeah, I'm still going to hold them accountable. They chose that route. But you know what? I don't even need to say that here because we have this guy just straight up telling us that no, Warner Media didn't make Rooster Teeth do this. Rooster Teeth did it, and they wanted to do it. So there you go, White Knights, from the Rooster Teeth, whoever this guy is, I don't even know, but there you go. Myth number 3. The Rooster Teeth apps don't have closed captioning. False. Okay. Myth number 4. More people watch RWBY on YouTube than on Rooster Teeth. False. This is really funny because he says false, but then he says more people watched RWBY on Rooster Teeth than on YouTube in the last 12 months. In the last 12 months, but that's not the question. The question, or rather the myth, is more people watch RWBY on YouTube than on Rooster Teeth. And this guy then, sneakily adds in the last 12 months. This is like those fact-checking websites that will fact-check a claim, but they'll tweak the words a little bit so that it ends up in a favorable position for themselves. And that's my opinion, of course, but I really don't like the way he tried to frame this. On top of the fact that I don't think Volume 7 was even on YouTube. So, yeah, this is really... Come on. Myth number 5. Putting RWBY on YouTube drives discoverability of RWBY and Rooster Teeth. Somewhat true, he says. And yeah, man, that is true. I mean, it's just very obvious. YouTube is a massive platform that even to this day, I'm still surprised how many people use it. I don't mean that as a slight at YouTube. I mean it as a compliment. I'm like, wow, yeah, so many people use YouTube. Like, the point I'm getting at is I use YouTube every day. I even make videos on it, and I still get surprised by just how massive it is. So yeah, Rooster Teeth, I mean... You do get more discoverability, more reach, and that sort of thing. I mean, so what do they say? Somewhat true. Okay, fair enough. Myth number 6. Rooster Teeth can monetize RWBY better when it's not on YouTube. And he says true. This one's interesting because he says it's true, but in my opinion, he should have framed it more like the previous one where it's somewhat true because he says, we don't make very much revenue on YouTube and removing the episodes from YouTube will not have a significant financial impact, which I do believe is true. That said, I've seen Rooster Teeth make very questionable decisions before for what seems to be negligible financial impact, and they still wanted it. So, I mean, that's interesting. He then says, but bringing more people to the RT apps gives them a better chance to become engaged viewers and community members. The thing is, RT, you haven't had very much luck for years with the app. You continue to try to get people to use it, and it's really not going that well. And removing RWBY from YouTube isn't going to help people use the app more. It's just going to lower discoverability, in my opinion, which will, like I said, cause less people to use the app because they don't even know it exists. They don't even know who you are. Myth number 7. Not having RWBY on YouTube will drive increased piracy. He says not easily measurable, but probably false. I mean, I kind of actually agree with this because his point is that it's free on Rooster Teeth anyways. So I'll pretty much agree with him on that one. I don't think it's really going to drive a whole lot of piracy for RWBY because people can just go to Rooster Teeth. But that said, you got to understand that there are some people that just don't want to support Rooster Teeth because of this choice or the choices that they have done. So even though it is free on the RT site, some people still might choose to pirate it simply because they don't want to support RT in any way, shape, or form, but they still want to watch that episode or whatever. And I'm just saying this as a hypothetical. So there you go. Let me actually explain my position a little bit further on that one because the new volume coming out, I believe, is not going to be free even on Rooster Teeth. So, some people, like I said, that are not happy with Rooster Teeth's choices or even just this choice and, they're fine with everything else, but maybe this is a tipping point. Those people very well may resort to piracy over, actually supporting RT on that. So not even I'm not referring to even just the old episodes that are free. I'm referring to the new volume coming up that you have to pay for, and you got to take into account how that all may be affected by choices like this when a lot of the community is not happy. Anyways, moving on. And finally, myth number 8. This is the beginning of Rooster Teeth abandoning YouTube altogether, and he says false. And I think it's an interesting discussion because Rooster Teeth and their affiliates, so to speak, certainly have utilized YouTube. I mean, you can even argue that without YouTube, they never would have succeeded as a company. I was going to say existed, but yeah, succeeded or existed, you get the idea. So it's an interesting discussion. I can't comment on this entirely, though, because I don't know too much about RT as a whole. I mostly know about the RWBY side of things, and because I've been covering their news for the last 2 years almost, I have a bit more insight on RT as a whole, but I'm still no expert, so I'm going to stick in my lane and say no comment on that one. Anyways, I just thought that was a funny follow-up. I'm still honestly a bit surprised that they even made that post. But okay, Rooster Teeth, let me know what you guys think in the comments about this one, and I'll catch you soon for the third.